Hey guys, it's Kilby Browne
and the Marizete Browne.
And we are the Property Hats New York City Team. Today we have a fantastic guest. We have Nicholas Di Iorio, who's a Community Engagement Officer with New York City Relief. So Nicholas, welcome to our show. Thanks so much for coming.
Thanks for your time, Nicholas.
Well, it's great to be with the Property Hats team, and I'm so grateful you guys are willing to have me on.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to a fantastic show. So when we first met, I think I walked up to you and told you that my wife and I we do real estate. So we're not, we don't have drivers. We're not in limousines. We're in the subway. We're walking around neighborhoods from Harlem, Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens. We walk the walk. We walk the streets. We're on the subway all day long.
Take the bus as well.
Oh, we take the bus we have to in Queens. So we experience and we see firsthand the homeless situation, what a serious problem it is. And when I met you, I said, I got to learn more about what's going on with the homeless situation in New York. And obviously, we probably have a whole nother level or layer with COVID, with what's going on right now. So that's why I wanted to have you on. I wanted to learn a little bit more about the situation in New York City and how people can help. So let's just start with the first question. What is New York City Relief?
Well, it's a great place to start because we've got a great story to tell. New York City Relief is a mobile outreach group that reaches out and tries to connect with people who are currently experiencing homelessness. We started in 1989, so this is our 31st year. And since we started back in 1989, we've served over 7 million meals to people on the street.
Wow.
So really a part, not just a service provider, but we're a part of the community here in the New York City metro area. And we feel like we can connect with people because we meet them where they are. We don't wait for them to come to us at our shelter. We have mobile soup kitchens. We have mobile buses that go out and bring the services, bring the people to where the homeless are on the street.
Wonderful. And how is New York City Relief helping during COVID-19?
Well, the most important thing that we're doing is we're still out there, right? We haven't stopped operating. We've had continuous service over the last 2 months since the shutdown began here in New York City. We've served thousands and thousands of cups of soup. We've served thousands and thousands of beverages, hygiene kits. We've got an incredible partnership where we can give out socks to all of our guests.
Oh.
So I think the biggest thing we're trying to do now that we've settled in and we've continued to serve, the biggest thing we're trying to do now is get personal protective equipment to our guests, whether that be masks, sanitizing lotion, gloves. We're trying to not only provide the food and the services that we've done for years, now we're trying to make sure that our guests can be safe and can be healthy as they get their meal, as they get their service.
And I read on the website that you guys are in need of these items, right? Gloves, hand sanitizer, Lysol wipes, correct? So let's put the word out there.
Absolutely.
We need these items, right? So
we're always seeking in-kind gifts, whether that's Cliff Bar. We have a great relationship with Cliff Bar. We've got a great relationship with Bombas Socks. They've donated tens of thousands of socks to us over the years. And we're looking now for people to make gifts of masks, specifically surgical masks, or even if you can get the high quality N95 masks. But anything that allows our guests and allows our service to be clean, sterilized, purified, that's what we want people to be interested in giving. We're always interested in financial gifts. We've got a lot of goals that we're trying to reach financially, but if people can make in-kind gifts, that's just as great, because right now we're trying to make sure our homeless guests, the people that we serve, are equipped and can stay safe even after they visit us on the street.
So I know there's probably a lot bigger population, even behind the population that you're serving, but what percentage of the people that you see, like when the bus rolls up, have these items, have any masks or any of these supplies? What percentage of people do you see?
It's very few, Kilby. I mean, I think only, if I had to put a number on it, maybe 5%, maybe 10%.
Wow.
But what we're seeing now is our numbers are skyrocketing because people have been able to stay in their homes. The city of New York has put out an eviction moratorium so that if someone has lost their job or they're going through a tough place, they're in a tough place financially, they can stay in their home, but they're not getting an income. They're not getting a salary. So we're seeing a lot of people who have a place to stay, excuse me, but they're food insecure. And so a lot of those guests don't have the resources to buy the protective equipment that you and I might be able to use every day.
And you have to think of what feeling do they have that they're willing to go out on the street with other people, with strangers, and take that risk to catch COVID just to get a meal. You have to think of that mindset of, That's
exactly right. And I think, unfortunately, Kilby, so many of the guests that we have are only getting a hot meal from us. So many of the people that we serve are getting their one hot meal that day from us. We serve a freshly made plant-based vegan soup. We serve fresh rolls that get donated to us by local bakers. We serve freshly made drinks, either hot or cold. We give out hygiene kits that are fully stocked with shampoo and soap. So people are able to get the services they need, but for many people on the street, we're the only game in town.
Wow. And I know, it's unbelievable. Do you have certain same locations that you go to throughout the city? Let's say one place in Harlem, Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, or do you how does that work?
That's a great question. Really, that's the fundamental part of what we do is where we serve and when we serve. So we have 7 locations. We've got the South Bronx. We've got 2 locations in Harlem. We've got a location in Union Square. We've got a location in Chelsea Park. We've got a location on the Lower East Side in the Bowery. And then we've got 2 locations in New Jersey, Newark and Patterson. And so we're at those locations throughout the week. We start going out on Wednesdays and we serve throughout Saturday. So Wednesday through Saturday is when we roll out the buses, roll out the teams to go out and serve. And like you said before, the most important thing is that we're there at those locations every time we are scheduled to be there. We never miss a scheduled outreach. If we have to get people to jump in on short notice, we do that. But the people who are on the street depend on the soup, on the bread, on the beverages we bring out there. And so we really we made a commitment to the city. We've made a commitment to New Jerseyans that we're going to be there. And so I think the most important thing for people to know is if they make a gift to us, if they make an in-kind donation, it's going to get to the people on the street, guaranteed.
That's amazing. Beautiful. So it's dedication, it's consistency, it's the people in that community know. For example, every Saturday at 11 o'clock, the bus is coming.
Yes.
And for how long you stay in each location serving? For about 1 hour?
Yeah. So we're at, typically before COVID, we were at each location for 4 hours. The quantity of soup that we would bring out, the quantity of the food and these hygiene kits that we'd bring out could last us over 4 hours. But now what we're seeing is that the crowds are so big and the demand is so high that our capacity is to bring out soup and products for 2 hours. And really the 2 hour window is the right time because we feel like if we stay out for 4 hours, the crowds are just going to get
bigger and bigger.
They're going to get too big, and the staff doesn't have the bandwidth to take care of everybody. So we go out for 2 hours, typically from 11 to 1 at most of our locations, and people know that for that 2 hour period of time, they can get as much soup as they need. Typically, we try to get everybody soup before we have people go back and get more. But for that 2 hour period of time, we serve until the soup runs out. We're there as long as we need to be to serve the people that are showing up for that particular day.
Wow.
Amazing, amazing.
Beautiful work.
And are you or the other volunteers that you guys have, are you making like connections? Can you see the same faces every week, or is it just completely random, or do you actually kind of get more of a connection with people, seeing them week after week after week? kind of builds a little bit of relationship?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, Kilby. So before COVID, we would set up tables and chairs, and it would actually turn into, I want to say, kind of like a block party, because we play music. Our staff, our volunteers are friendly. We love on each other. We just love the people that come out and join us. And so now with COVID, we can't have those tables out. We have to take away the chairs. We still play the music. We still try to make that environment friendly and warm and hospitable. But we definitely see people who are coming back week after week. But again, the trouble that we're seeing now over the last 2 months is we're seeing a lot of new people. A lot of people who are at the end of their financial life, or maybe they've run out of the money that they've saved up. We're starting to see new people come into our lines because right now they're just not getting the financial help that they need. We know that companies and the government are trying to be helpful and trying to support people, but the reality is there's no way you can replace an entire month's paycheck. There's no way you can replace an entire pay period of your salary. And so the troubling thing is we are seeing the people that would usually come out, Kilby, but we're also seeing a lot of new people come out as well.
Wow. What do you think of that, Marizete?
What a sad time we are going through, huh?
Well, but I think what you guys are referring to is really true. Just to add, the most important thing to us is that we begin a relationship. The thing that people come out for, obviously, is the food and the services. But what we come out for is we come out to build a relationship with the people that are out there. So the most important thing we do, I think, are the life care visits that we set up. And after a person gets their meal, they can stay with us and have a one-on-one meeting with a counselor to get connected. And one of the great partnerships we've just started is with Doctors Without Borders. Doctors Without Borders, they're providing cell phones to our guests that have 2 months worth of data on them. So that people who are on the street can get connected with the service providers, the government agencies. They can get the kind of help that they need that maybe we don't have, but that we can connect them to. And so I want to make it really clear to your guests and your viewers that people are joining in. This is an opportunity for people to come together, and we're seeing that every day on the street.
Fantastic. Yes. And how are you guys keeping safe, in this moment when you are serving and doing the work? You guys that are working as a volunteer.
Yeah, it's really the most important question. I'm so grateful you asked that, because all of our volunteers, all of our staff are wearing gloves, masks, hats, and are using sanitizing lotion.
So I like the hat line.
I like the hat.
It's a hat show. We all have to have hats. So our guests are also receiving gloves and masks. The volunteers and the staff, every surface that we use in the van, in the buses, our serving tables, everything is bleached every half hour, even more frequently if we need to. So we're using bleach. We're using the sanitizing lotion to keep clean. We're spreading people out. So one of the first things we do when we get to a site every day is we draw chalk lines on the sidewalk so that our guests know to keep 6 feet apart. And I think that's really important because we want to make sure that we're following all the guidelines from New York City, from New Jersey, from the health officials, because we don't want to get shut down, right? We've been an essential service. We have all the paperwork. We're legally allowed to be outside serving, but we want to make sure we can maintain our presence, by keeping safe, following all the rules, and making sure that everyone is healthy.
Wonderful.
Amazing. A quick question. How many volunteers do you have per bus trip?
Yeah. So the volunteer core that we have is really the lifeblood of what we do. We can make all the soup we want. We can package up all the hygiene kits that we can, but if we don't have volunteers, we can't serve. So on a typical bus trip, again, before COVID, we'd have between 10 and 15 people in addition to the 5 or so staff members that go out. So Usually we'd have about 20 people doing the serving pre-COVID. Since COVID started, we're increasing the staff, and we're trying to be really careful about our volunteer base, because we're not allowing anyone who is below the age of 15 or above the age of 65 to serve. We want to make sure that we've got healthy people who are serving. So everyone has their temperature taken beforehand. The staff make sure that they keep safe by having proper distance with each other. But we want to make sure that we're not putting anyone in danger. So we're sending out more staff, probably now between 7 to 10 staff per bus, instead of having so many volunteers. So the volunteer teams are always welcome to come out, so long as they're healthy, so long as they're in that age range that I talked about. But we want to make sure that the people there know exactly what to do, are completely prepared to handle the situation, because again, we're getting hundreds and hundreds of more people than we normally would get. And because there's more demand, we want to make sure that the professional staff we have is out there every day. Exactly. And that's why you have the staff to help the volunteers, because if there are any issues, you have the staff who are experienced, who've done this before, who know, whatever the right phone calls to make, or if a situation arises, they know what to do. That's right. Exactly.
And of course, you train the new volunteers, right? If somebody wants to help, you guys train them.
Yes. One of the tragedies of the COVID crisis is that typically volunteers will travel from all over the country to serve with us for an entire week. So really? Yeah. So oh my gosh. So
that's amazing.
At our base in Elizabeth, we have a beautiful building, and we've got a dormitory set up where teams of volunteers will come in, usually between 20 and 30 people per week. They come in, they visit us, they have their meals with us, and they serve for an entire week, and then they go out and then they go back to their community and share what they've learned while they were with us. But because of COVID, we haven't had those same teams come in. So our volunteers now are local. And thankfully what that means is, because they're local volunteers, most of them have already served with us. So they've got that training, they've got that expertise that you just talked about. But we really miss the volunteers that would come and visit us from all over the country. We've had thousands and thousands of churches, businesses, other organizations that just want to come out and serve. They come with us, and they go out into the streets, and they give their time and their energy to the people on the streets. But we look forward to that time in the future when we can have those teams back with us. Amazing. So it's a mix of organizations and faith-based organizations and businesses. So it's a mix. Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Wonderful.
And how people can support or get involved with New York City Relief?
Yeah, the two ways that we're asking people to really consider, be thoughtful about joining us, is either making a financial gift that helps us purchase all these services we need, helps us operate our buses, help us pay the staff that we have. So that's one way, making a financial gift. But the other way, which we talked about earlier, is making those in-kind donations that we so desperately need, whether they be masks or gloves. Like I said before, we've got partnerships with a lot of different companies like Cliff Bar. The Body Shop is another local company that makes organic shampoos and soaps, and they've donated a lot of product to us. Those in-kind cleaning items, like the Lysol wipes, like the bleach, the gloves, the masks, that's a great way that people can partnership. And the best way to do that is by going to our website, NYCrelief.org. It's all spelled out, NYCrelief.org. And there you can find ways to make financial gifts, but also make in-kind donations. That's fantastic. We'll put that in the comments, the link.
Yes, all the details.
So we'll have the information. Great. Yes, they can reach out to you. So I feel something different about you guys, but why don't you explain to me what makes New York City Relief different than other organizations? Well, I think the biggest thing that makes us different as an organization is that we are willing to go out every week and meet people where they are. So much of life isn't about trying to ask people to come and be with you. So much of life is going out and being vulnerable and joining with somebody who's struggling. And I think what makes us unique is we're willing to go out and build those relationships directly with people on the street who are currently experiencing homelessness. During COVID, what makes us unique is that we're really the only large-scale agency that's been operating nonstop without having to change our model, right? The thing that we've been doing for the last 31 years is the same thing we're doing today, which is getting our mobile buses, our mobile outreach teams out on the street and bringing soup, beverages, clothing, if we have it, hygiene kits, socks to people on the street. And I think that's what makes us unique. But the other thing that we've really been talking to people about is we cannot allow social distancing to end the social responsibility that we all feel and all experience, right? Mm-hmm. We have to find this balance between socially distancing and keeping our commitment to social responsibility. And I feel like that's something that New York City Relief has made a commitment to since the beginning of the crisis, right? We know that we have to be safe. We know that we have to make sure that people are healthy and continue to live. But we also need to realize that there are people on the street who are vulnerable. There are people who are homeless who don't have a place to social distance. They don't have a place to go to keep safe. And we've really been calling on the city. We've been calling on private organizations to make hotel rooms available to people, to keep the subway system going. Last week we had this announcement that the subway systems are going to be closed during the early morning hours of 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. And we understand that people need to clean the subways, that they need to be sanitized. But we also have to recognize that thousands of New Yorkers rely on the subways to sleep. I mean, you talked about it at the beginning of our discussion, right? People who are in real estate, they see this every day.
Exactly.
So many people rely on subway stations and subway trains to stay safe and to stay out of harm's way. How do we treat those people and how do we care for those people if we're going to close the subway? It's something that the city needs to do a better job of talking about. And then we also have to make sure that people can find a place to safely quarantine. If someone's sick, we have to find a way to get them hotel rooms. And thankfully, because people have been so generous to us, we've been able to provide hotel rooms to several of our guests that are in need of a place to stay in New York and in New Jersey. And we're going to continue to try to provide that private space if we're allowed to financially. And so that's another thing that we're starting to do because of the crisis, but we're always going to be committed to providing the meals and the relationships that we've been doing for 31 years.
Amazing. Beautiful. Before we go, and once again, thank you so much for coming on today. I read somewhere, someone wrote an article that in this COVID crisis, we're all in the same storm, but we're all in different boats.
Yes.
Everyone is in a different boat. Exactly. And the people that you're dealing with are in a much different boat than
ours and yours
and other people
friends,
around the country. Yeah. So just on a personal note, working with New York City Relief, like when you wake up in the morning or when you come home from a day's work, how do you feel? How does that make you feel? I don't want to try to make you feel bad, but how does this make you feel as an individual, as a person that you are doing this work?
Yeah, I think you're asking a really important question. From the beginning of my career, I had a heart for service. I've been a teacher. I've been an educator. I was studying to be in ministry as a pastor, and now I'm with this organization. And I feel like there has to be this place where a person realizes that we're very blessed. We're blessed to be in a home. My wife and I are blessed to be in a safe environment. But we have to also acknowledge that there are vulnerable people out there. And I think if we were to talk to someone who's on the street, I think the most important thing for that person and the people that we meet every day is that there's some remembrance of their plight, that at some point in our day, whether we're working for the organization like this or we're doing something else, I think people on the street just want to be remembered.
Mm-hmm.
They want to be remembered that they're out there, that they're human, and that they have a place in our community. And I think more than anything else that we do at New York City Relief, we're trying to make sure that anyone who's on the street or anyone who's looking for a meal, they still have a place in our community and they're still to be treated with dignity and with respect. And I feel like what I think about every day and when I think about my work, I'm trying to remember that the people we're serving, the people that we're trying to help have an intrinsic dignity and beauty that can never be taken away, and that their suffering from homelessness is merely a circumstance. It's not who they are. And it's really important for all of us to remember that.
Beautiful.
So people, guys out there, if you're watching, please, if you're able to support in any way, whether it's volunteer or donations, or whether it's donations of products or donations financially, reach out to New York City Relief and recognize these people. These people are looking to be recognized, and we have a way to help them. And there is a way to help them, and it's not just walk by them.
Definitely.
It's not just ignore them. It's we have an organization here that does the work, but they need a little help. So let's see if we can get our our family or friends or audience to help make a difference, so they can feel what you're feeling every day.
Most definitely.
Absolutely. And
I'm here to spread the word.
Yeah,
It's a beautiful word. Beautiful job that
and that's why
doing.
I'm so grateful that you guys took the time to talk with me, because spreading the word is what we're all about. And you guys are storytellers. And I'm so grateful that you were willing to help tell this story and help be a part of the story.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank
you so much for coming. We really appreciate you coming on today. We're going to end this broadcast in just a few seconds, but God bless you. God bless your work. Be safe. I know you guys have a lot of protocol and you guys are very smart about it. So guys, if you can volunteer, if you can donate, if you can get involved, you can just start with going to the website, finding out what they do, learning a little about it, getting accustomed, getting a feel. And then if you're in a position to help out, if God says that to you, help out.
Please get involved, people. Help. Let's help each other, right? That's why we are here for.
Thank you so much, Nicholas.
Thank you, Nicholas. Hats off to you.
Hats off to you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you.